Hi.
So you are the leader of the Animal Welfare Party.
Yep.
What's it feel like to be campaigning?
Well, at this moment in time, we're 5 days away from the general election, and we've got 4 candidates in constituencies across London. Yeah, it's pretty hectic, and we're excited about what will happen on Thursday, but also it's a lot of work. Yeah, but we think there's only positive things can come out of this.
We exist to raise the moral and legal status of animals in the UK and Europe.
What's it feel like going up against the big major political parties?
Actually, standing against the major political parties, some people might say, why are you doing that? A small party doesn't stand a chance against those parties. And we're aware of that our political system is not really designed for small parties to do well in a general election. But for us, that's not really the point. The point for us is about raising awareness of animal welfare, environmental and human issues.
So why should we care about animals?
Well, Animal Welfare Party believes, and I believe, that the society we've grown up in is inherently speciesist. That means we prioritise the rights of human animals over non-human animals. We give special rights and privileges to those individuals based solely on their membership of their species. Now, since I was small, I felt that was not correct. I've had an inkling that was not correct, and I've always felt that animals didn't deserve to suffer for human reasons, and that I should do something about that. So why should we care about animals? Well, because they're sentient creatures, they're capable of suffering and feeling pain, and if we don't need to do harm to them, then why would we? And I think it's very hard for anyone to really argue that we do need to do harm to them.
So do we have enough energy and time to make policies about animals?
Well, I think that question sort of presupposes that there's a sort of finite amount of energy and time, and that caring about people and caring about animals are somehow mutually exclusive concepts. And actually, I don't think they are. We've got some huge problems facing the world at the moment, and I think one of the most significant ones, and one that there's a huge awareness gap over and rarely gets any media time or attention or time from politicians, is actually climate change, and about our role in climate change and the way we're feeding ourselves and how that contributes to climate change. So I think the way we're feeding ourselves at the moment, we've got this population of 7 billion we've got a rise in meat consumption, those 7 billion people eating more animal products than they ever did before. And actually that places huge strains on our planet. So we've got environmental degradation, we've got resource use, we've got rainforests being chopped down, we've got water being used. All of those are set to actually get worse, those problems, as the world population is set to increase to between 9 and 10 billion by the year 2050. And if we carry on feeding ourselves this way on animal products, we will run out of planet. Essentially, we'll need 3 or 4 planets to sustain ourselves. And that's just, it's not possible. It's illogical. So we have to do something now. And I think basically caring about animal welfare also means caring about the environment. And at the same time, it also means caring about people, because when we feed crops to livestock so that we can eat them, we're actually depriving people in developing countries of having enough food to eat. So whilst our cattle are well fed, we've got people starving in the world, and that can't be right. It is possible to come up with solutions that benefit people, animals and the environment.
How do we get people to care more about the animals?
I think encouraging people to care more about animals and more about the environment has to start really with education. It has to start with primary and secondary education. So as part of our national curriculum, we should be helping children to talk about animals, how they feel about animals, introducing them to the concept of animal sentience and how to care correctly for animals. And I think if we start there, at that basis, we will produce future generations who are more compassionate to animals, who actually take on board this notion of speciesism and don't find it any different to thinking about racism and sexism and why those are totally unacceptable in modern society. As for the environment, I think we can also be including lessons on the environment in school as well. And of course, we need public education campaigns. We've had some, but they haven't gone far enough. They haven't been properly funded. And that's crucial in basically changing behaviour.
led you to become vegan?
I became vegan 20 years ago. Actually, the impetus for me becoming vegan was someone coming to my school when I was around 15 and talking about the way animals were kept in factory farming. They particularly spoke about the way calves were taken away from their mums when they were born to produce milk, and about the way chickens were kept in egg production systems. And that was the first time I'd understood that they were the realities of what went on. And from that moment onwards, I thought a lot about whether I wanted to be a part of that, and I concluded that I didn't. So I've been vegan for a long time now, and for me there are really three reasons why I'm vegan. The first is that for me personally, it's impossible for me to justify why I should allow harm to be done to other sentient creatures for my own pleasure, or and I think it's impossible to justify that. The second reason is that obviously for the environment, I think it's much better for the environment if people like us, who are essentially the top 10 richest percentage of people in the world who have access to education and information, I think it's essential that we take on board what we've been privileged to have access to and use that information to live lives that are responsible. I don't think we can expect the other 90% of people living in the world to change their behaviour if we're not going to change ours. And the third reason is health reasons. I think it's much healthier to be vegan. So, I think studies over recent years have shown that there is a link between animal product consumption and preventable diseases like diabetes, certain types of cancer. And I think that actually being vegan is much healthier. So as a vegan over these last 20 years, I've run 2 marathons, and I basically think that shows that being vegan has absolutely no negative consequences on one's health. So if one doesn't need to eat animal products, then why would you?
Do you have any tips for people that want to go vegan?
I think my tips for anyone that's interested in becoming vegan would be firstly to educate yourself. Educate yourself on the nutritional side of things, about what nutrition you need to make sure you get. Educate yourself on how to cook in an interesting way, because it's important that you enjoy the food you eat. And the third thing would just be to experiment. It kind of takes a while to learn a new way of cooking, to find out what you like and what you don't like, and also go to other people's houses to eat if they offer to cook for you, offer to cook for other people, experiment, and eventually I think quite quickly you become an expert in being vegan.
That's great. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Good luck on your party.
Thank you very much. Thank